Today's psalm is Psalm number 10. Psalm number 10 is a little disturbing for me. I chose some particular verses out of Psalm 10 that I think speak especially to the situation for today. I'm going to be looking at Psalm number 10, verses 12, 14, 16 through 17. Let me read that to you. Psalm 10, starting at verse 12. Arise, Lord, lift up your hand, O God. Do not forget the helpless. But you, O God, see trouble and grief. You consider it to take it in hand. The victim commits himself to you. You are the helper of the fatherless. The Lord is king forever and ever. The nations will perish from his land. You hear, O Lord, the desire of the afflicted. You encourage them and you listen to their cry, defending the fatherless and the oppressed, in order that man who is of the earth may terrify no more. There's been some bad news, of course, over these past few days, and it seems to be piling up. One bad news on top of another. At first we hoped that this would be over by Easter, that we'd be back in our congregation by Easter. But it appears now that's not going to happen. It may not be until end of May, June, or even later. We don't know how long this is going to last and if there will be a second wave. We might get through this wave, tampering it down and spreading it out so that the hospitals aren't overwhelmed. But when we release the restrictions and we go back to a kind of normal life, will that re-trigger another wave of coronavirus? And once again, we'll be asked to isolate. Once again, we'll not be allowed to attend those who are dying in the hospital. We will not be able to attend the funeral for those who have died. We will not be able to pray by their bedsides. We will not be able to hug them and kiss them goodbye. Lord, these are difficult times, and this psalm spoke to me. The message from the book today was not very satisfying. And I wanted to speak from my heart about what Psalm 10, verses 12, 14, 16, and 17 do say. Out of Psalm 10, there is some hope. Out of Psalm 10, we can find encouragement. It begins to arise. Arise, Lord, lift up your hand, O God. Do not forget the helpless. Here we are. We are in a helpless condition. There's nothing we can do. There is nothing that we can do except isolate ourselves. Maybe that is the way that we love our neighbor the most, by staying away, at least physically. But as we stay away physically, let's not forget to connect socially. I don't like the way the term is being used, social distance. We can't survive social distance. Physical distance, yes, we can maintain that. We can put barriers, we can wear masks, we can step away, we can keep 6 feet from each other. But we cannot bear being socially isolated. We need to stay connected. We need to stay connected to each other and connected to our God. Verse 14, but you, O God, do see trouble and grief. You consider it to take it to hand. Yes, he does see. He knows the trouble that we are in. He hears our grief. He knows the sorrow that's in our hearts. the victim. We are victims of this virus. The victim commits himself to you, it says in verse 14, because God, you are the helper of the fatherless, the helper of all who are in grief, the helper of all who sorrow. Verse 16 declares, the Lord is king forever and ever. The nations will perish from his land. And so we know that this virus cannot conquer God. And this virus is not going to destroy his church. He is king forever and ever and will not be dethroned. As king forever, he will oversee what happens as we go through this. Verse 17 concludes, you hear, O Lord. You hear. You hear the desire of the afflicted. We are the afflicted. He hears our desire, the psalmist declares. You encourage them and you listen to their cry. We do need to cry out to the Lord, continue to pray, cry out to the Lord, because he is the defender of the fatherless and the oppressed, in order that man who is of the earth, we are of the earth, and to earth we shall return. We are of the earth, and the Lord God is the defender of this man, his creation, that we may be terrified no more. We can depend on God. We can depend on him to give us peace, to give us strength, to give us the courage to continue to practice physical distance, yet maintain social intimacy. Reach out to someone today. Reach out with a letter, reach out with a phone call, reach out with an email, join the Zoom groups, be with others, even if you maintain, and even as you maintain physical distance. And that's what I got from Psalm 10. It's not what was written in our book. It is not what is on the heart of the author there, but it is what's on the heart of me. Bless you. Stay connected. Till next time.